Hi, all. I'm Lisa Marini. I'm a brain health coach. I have a private practice and I work with Omnia Health Co., a functional medicine clinic here in Denver. And if you're like me in this time, things are absolutely crazy. I'm on social media scrolling through, and 1 minute I am feeling like the world is coming to an end. It's doom and gloom. Chicken Little, the sky is falling. I'm starting to then worry about if I have enough supplies. How is my family going to be? Going on to then the state of the world, my own practice. Am I going to have a business anymore? And it ends up that I find myself in the future living in a box under a bridge. My mind definitely has a way of catastrophizing, of creating worst case possible scenario. And of course, there's a reason for that in the brain, and I won't get into that in this conversation. What I really want to do today is to just give you a few minutes of a technique that will help you get a bit grounded, feel that you have a little more control in what's going on in your life. Because you know how it is as well when you're on the social media, and then you go to the catastrophizing, but then you go to the other end of the spectrum where maybe you feel like you've blown it out of proportion, or everything's going to blow over and we're going to laugh about this. And it's probably somewhere in the middle, right? We're going to, have some stressful times, and none of us can predict what's going to happen. But what we can do is we can use tools to ground ourselves in the moment. We can use tools to help us manage the stress and manage the chaotic times we face. So what I want to teach you today is through heart math. It's called a coherence technique. And I want to show you what happens when we are out of coherence, when we are in a state of frustration or worry or stress. If we were to put a measuring device on you, you would see that the heart rate variability that shows up is kind of all over the board. You see that in this red chart, that when we have these feelings of frustration, anxiety, stress, we are kind of all over the place. And what our hearts do is our hearts emit a frequency. And so I'm sure you've experienced this before when you've walked into a room and something feels off, something feels uncomfortable, or you can feel the tension. Maybe somebody just got in a fight and you're not sure what went down, but you sense something. This is what you're sensing. You're sensing this frequency that is emitted from the area of our heart. And this frequency can be felt up to 3 feet is what they're measuring now. I think that there is cases where maybe it can be projected even further. But this is what it's like to be around someone with this type of frequency. And I feel like most of us have gone into this state many, many times over the last week or so. And so you can imagine how it's affecting yourself, how it's affecting your loved ones and our children. Our children really aren't fully understanding what's going on. And suddenly they're noticing, what's going on with mom? Why is mom all of a sudden feel off or feel different? This is what they're perceiving. So the technique I want to teach you today helps us get into coherent states. And you can see in this chart below that when we are in coherent states, we feel a sense of appreciation, we feel a sense of gratitude, love, compassion. We feel these really good emotions, and it allows all of our body systems to get in alignment. We essentially are moving our bodies into a parasympathetic nervous state, which is the opposite of a fight and flight response that a lot of us get triggered by. And so when we are in these states, we're more grounded, we're more centered, and it just feels easier to be around us, and it feels easier to be around other people. So we want to, practice this a little more. That's what I want to teach you today, is how to get into these coherent states at any time, before you're on social media, maybe before dinner, whenever you want. So the way the technique will work is go ahead and place one hand on your heart. And just be there for a moment. Maybe you can feel your heart beating. Maybe you just get a sense of your breath in this area. And you can continue to open your eyes or close your eyes, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And as you're here, start to focus your breath in the area of your heart, as if you're breathing into this area. Imagining your breath is flowing in and out of this space. And now you can bring your breath a little slower, a little deeper. And perhaps you even want to count. Maybe you inhale for a count of 5 and exhale for a count of 5. These nice, slow, deep breaths with your attention focused on the area of your heart. And if your mind wanders, that's absolutely okay. That's very normal. Just bring your attention back to this area. And now that your attention is in this area, try and make a sincere attempt to bring up a positive emotion. An emotion that feels regenerative, maybe a sense of appreciation for something that you saw someone do, or something that someone did for you, or maybe what you did for someone else. Perhaps an act of kindness. Remembering the situation. Maybe you saw it in a movie. Maybe it's something from your past. But a real, genuine act of kindness. Or maybe it's an emotion of care or love. Maybe for a pet or a child or someone in another nation. Just really getting in touch with that feeling. And if your mind wanders, just simply bring it back to your breath. And bring back up that regenerative feeling and emotion that you can tap into. Maybe you hop to another situation, recognizing an act of kindness that you recently saw or witnessed or participated in. And just feeling deeply into this emotion. And allowing yourself to be here for just a few more moments with your breath and with that regenerative feeling. And you can go ahead and bring yourself back. And just recognizing that when we're in a state of coherence, that it affects all of us, ourselves and everyone around us. And that we have so much power simply by moving ourselves into this state. Perhaps teaching your children how to do it or your spouse. And just being here in a moment, knowing that this emotional regulation is one of the best tools that we have in times like this. So practice it often, in the shower, cooking, wherever you are, knowing that you have access to this incredible tool. Thank you for being here today.